Don't trouble the water. I won't leave it alone. Why don't you let it be? Still water run deep. Yes, it do. I know that. Oh,
Okay, today on Real Talk with Zed, we have Miss Lila Edwards,
Hi.
breast cancer survivor, correct?
Yes.
And it's kind of ironic that we are in Breast Cancer Awareness Month also as
Yes.
well.
So good. We get to spread the word, let people know what's going on and what they should be looking for, how to take care of themselves.
So we're going to get right into it. We're going to talk about life prior to cancer. What was your life like prior to cancer?
The daily struggle. Working about 3 or 4 jobs to make it. I will say I was not taking good care of myself. I wasn't sleeping well because, normally you're working as much as possible just to keep, ends meet. I slept when I could. I didn't eat well, always eating fast food or, something low budget. And just, I would exercise, but, the other things kind of were really, really more important. Really eating right and sleep. Sleep is like very important for your health and your all over balance. I did a little bit of schooling. It was just me. My mother died when I was 13, so it was just me. I had people I lived with, roommates, abusive boyfriends, all that. But for the most part, I was just a normal, struggling black girl.
What were your goals and dreams during that time?
My hustle. I want to open a store. I do small jewelry things, little small collections, and my dream is to open my own boutique and showcase African American designers as well as my own designs. So that was my whole goal, was to go to school. I was going to school for business and art, and to hopefully become an entrepreneur, maybe a mogul. Fingers crossed.
When did you first find out that you had cancer?
It was May 2016, and to get to that point, there was so much before it. It started, I'm going to say it started in August 2015, really. I am prone to cysts. I don't really have the greatest health, and I was just getting them removed one by one. It's something I've gone through a lot. You get the little, the drain that they take the crap out, and they give you some antibiotics to dry it up, and then they remove it. So it was kind of just a cluster of them that I had in the middle of my chest, and I still have scarring from that with all the other scarring I have. So we're getting the one in my chest removed, and the doctor says to me, he pokes it and goes, I don't like this one. It's not in a good spot. It's not, just doesn't rub me the right way. At this point, he's already starting to give me my sedative, because it's a procedure, not a surgery. So they put you out. You don't need to be asleep for it. They just need to numb you up and make sure you don't squiggle. So he's talking to me just to calm me down, because I was nervous because I wasn't going to be put asleep. And he's saying, off the record, it's starting to look like breast cancer. And it's like, I don't want to, say it, because it is in a cluster of your cysts and your prone to cysts, and I don't want to freak you out, but you should get it looked at. Now, saying this is off the record, and this one thing's got interesting. By the way, this was a black doctor. He was trying to give me a little hint at something. It was like, if this is breast cancer, I don't want to say their name.
Yeah, we can leave that out.
No legal parts,
Yeah.
but this insurance that you're under, they're going to screw you over. And I just went, what? He goes, you're at the end of your term. I was 26, and at that end, at that time, once you get, 25, 26, you get kicked off of your caretakers or my adoptive parents' health insurance. So at that moment, it was the end of the cycle. But I was just like, no, it's a cyst, I'm sure. Like, I've done this a billion times. I didn't want to be put on medication for my anxiety, so I was trying to keep it calm. So this was like the one little lump I wasn't going to freak out over. I refused. Push come to shove, at the end of the day, it was actually the one lump I should have probably freaked out about. So skip to where I'm getting the third cyst looked at, and I call my health insurance just to make sure I'm going to the right location, because they have several locations, and I've done it before. I've gone to the complete opposite end of Maryland. But so I call them, make sure I'm going to the right location. They say yes, everything's set up. I had to get a sonogram first because of where it was located, just to make sure it is a cyst and nothing else. I get all the way down there, and wouldn't you know, on that specific day, that's when my health insurance cuts off. And I'm so confused. One, because I did talk to them in the morning, and they could have saved me an hour trip. Two, I got a letter saying that my health insurance would actually end a couple of weeks later, which would be the next month. So I'm pretty sure I still had some more time for you to figure what this was, if it was something to worry about. But they just said, well, if you want to go ahead and pay for the procedure out of pocket, it's so and so $1,000. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna. There you go. Like I struggled to get here, but I can just throw that money. So after cussing and fussing and being extremely upset on the phone, and I tried to be nice, because I understand, she's just a worker. It's not her fault per se, but I was pretty heated. Skip to the end. I didn't have health insurance at that point, so there was nothing I could do except go back to the daily grind. So I struggled. I went from being homeless for a short period of time to having my own place and being really excited about that. I was finally starting to take care of myself, and things were starting to look up. I was ecstatic. Like, if anybody knows that part, when the struggle gets a little less heavy, you're just like, hallelujah, some alive time, right? But at this point, that spot started to get a little sore, and it got bigger, and it hurt. Also, I was getting sick a lot. I went from a person who could stay up for hours to a person who was just exhausted constantly. I was always thirsty. I was constantly getting sinus infections, and I couldn't figure it out. I was still very athletic. I'm not like, a runner, but I did my walks, my long walks. I would walk at least 24 miles a week, if not more. I was very fit, but not like super buff. Once again, I still wasn't eating as great as I should be, but I couldn't understand it. And so in order to compensate while I'm at work, I'm taking a lot more caffeine, which in the end was really, really not bad. Really, 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 really bad. So once again, thank you, Obama. Obama comes out with Obamacare, and after all the fussing and the fighting and how it's not perfect and whatever, it in the end saves a lot of lives, and I'm one of them. So, side note, anybody got any problems with Obamacare, you can see me in the streets. Okay, I just want to put that out there.
Let's talk about that. How did that really help you during that time?
I did not have insurance, and it did not look like I was going to get it. I was not going to be able to pay for it, and like I said, I could barely. I was making ends meet finally. Like anything else would have just been like, and I'm back to ground. I didn't want that right now, and I was like, you know what, I'm fine, but I wasn't. So one day I called out of all my jobs, and I'm just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I go to the ER. My friend takes me, and one of the nurses, they did chest X-ray. One of the nurses said, you don't have insurance, so we really can't, I think you should get that one looked at. And she gave me some papers about Obamacare, and she told me where I could go to have somebody help me set it up, because I just didn't even touch it at first when it first started, because I just was too crazy and I didn't have time to go to doctors. But at this point, I think I needed to take a moment out for my health, for myself. Ladies, do that. Take a moment for you. It's crazy out here, but if you don't take a moment for you, nobody else will. So
now, just thinking about that time frame, how long was the time frame from where you were when you first heard about what was going on there with the lump to the time
that I got Obamacare?
Yes.
Okay.
How long was that?
I'm gonna go with a 2-month wait. It was only a 2-month wait. One, because I got all my stuff set up. I had to wait till I got the card, and then the card I got, there was an issue. I was put on an insurance that nobody around here took, and I was just like, why? So I switched to somebody that I could, and then I got myself seen. So it was like the day I got the card was the day I was gone. I was like, can I get seen now? Okay, let's go. I go to, what was it? It was an urgent care, because I had been so sick often and off and on. I went to an urgent care, and I was just like, okay, I don't know what's wrong. Of course, I did the whole, don't ever go on the internet and try to figure out what's wrong with you, because you will have everything. So I'm telling the doctor, I think this is wrong, and that's wrong, and this is wrong. And she's like, just let me do my thing. She, she pokes and prods and sticks and does her thing. And she says, I don't think this is a cyst. It's showing entirely too many signs. I'm going to send you to the breast cancer center. And my eyes just went, I'm like, oh, no. I'm sure that this is a cyst. I've gone through this many, many times. It's just getting kind of bad. At this point, this was 100% denial. I am a very smart woman. It's just funny how your brain works and how it just, if you don't want it, it just won't know. But I was in hard denial, and I didn't believe it until I went to the breast cancer center, and the doctor said, yeah, this is breast cancer. And I had my friend with me, and she was more like broken about it than I was. I was just like, okay, here we go. Let me give you a little keynote into why I didn't freak out. During this time that all this is happening, I'm also meeting my father's side of my family. Like I said, my mother died when I was 13, so I've kind of had a really interesting jumble of family. I'm finally learning the family I have in Texas, and hi guys, they're pretty awesome, but I was learning of my health history, and all the women on my father's side had breast cancer. Every single one of them. There's maybe 2 or 3 that just didn't have that. And I was just like, oh, that's interesting. Well, so my uncle said, at some point you should probably just keep looking. You don't have to worry about it. You're young. It's something I heard 100 times. You're young. You don't have to worry about it. Last time I checked, cancer does not care what age you are. It comes when it comes. So don't let anybody tell you you're too young. I had nurses tell me I was too young. And I'm like, well, I already got it. That's why I'm here. Can you go ahead and give me my mammogram? She's like, oh. Don't ever tell anybody they're too young.
Just thinking about that, what you just said of being too young, would you recommend young women?
I recommend everybody constantly. If you're definitely, if you want birth control, check. If you're over 18, check. If you're under 18, going through this, I met a 15-year-old. She was going through her second time of breast cancer. Second time. And I was just I was like, you're just getting boobies. She just got her boobs, and all that was happening. And I'm just like, wow. So it really doesn't matter what age you are. You should probably just be checking for yourself as soon as puberty hits. What we're eating these days, how we're treating each other, how we're sleeping, it's just not good. The stress of daily life puts too much weight on your head, and it affects your body in many, many, many ways. Check yourself, ladies. It's not hard. There's nothing to be ashamed of touching yourself. You need to do it. Catching it early is the best thing to do.
Now, just thinking about during the time when you went in for the mammogram, at that point, that's when they officially...
Oh, no. When I got my mammogram, we had already known it was breast
cancer.
Yeah. Let me talk about that.
At that point, you have already known that you have breast cancer. You went in for the mammogram.
Yes.
At that point, what were the recommendations from the doctor?
Well, we needed to see the size of the tumor, where it was exactly, because it could be in your breast duct or outside your breast duct. The milk duct. And we, depending on where the tumor is, the size of it, and your pathology depends on your treatment. So once I got my mammogram, we did a 3D sonogram. She told me that I needed chemo, I needed surgery, I needed more chemo, and then I needed radiation. And my biggest fear And all of this was chemo. I've never been scared of surgery. You know, I am scared of people putting me to sleep because, you know, trust reasons. But I was just scared of the severity of the medicines that was in. And to hear that I needed lots of chemo freaked me out beyond belief and shot my anxiety through the roof. And that was fun.
How many weeks or rounds of chemo did you go through?
So I went through my first medicine, it was called Taxotere, and I went through about 6 treatments of that. I did a year of Herceptin, which I also started when I started my Taxotere. Herceptin is something for people who are HER positive, and that's me, HER positive too, which is part of pathology.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Ow. I don't know if that's an understatement. Extra ow. I'm okay. Charles isn't here on his way. I'm actually trying to have trouble breathing because I moved wrong. So now when the nurse comes back in, I'm going to tell her that. I'm okay. No phlegm. Okay. Let me tell you how that hurts and how it feels. The right side hurts way worse than the left side. Left side isn't that bad. Right side, holy shit. Because that arm got cut open and my boob. I'm starting to feel dizzy, so I'm going to take a nap in a minute. I can barely stay awake. A lot of drugs in my system. Don't get breast cancer. This is not where it's at. But thanks for all the prayers. Keep praying for me, guys. Love you all. And I might not do visitors today. I'm not really up and for it. But I might still later on. I don't know. We'll see. Bye, guys.
Back to my treatment, I did a year of Herceptin and Perjeta, which was because I was HER2 positive. I did 6 rounds of Taxotere. I did a drug called the Red Devil, which is exactly what it is described. That's its nickname. Now it's, very long name that I cannot pronounce. Please don't ask me. But there are 3 types that are classified as the Red Devil. They all end in sin, and they're all kind of the same medicine, just little changed per, But that one was big. That was after surgery, and that was an earth-shaking medicine. I did, I think, about 3 or 4 of them, and when the doctor told me I was done, I cried. I cried so hard. I was so happy to not have to go through that again. Now, I've heard that there are worse ones, and I never want to experience that in my life. And to anybody who has had the worst ones, bless you. You real MVP right there, because that stuff, I've never had anything mess with my mind before like that. Like, I don't do hard drugs, I don't do acid, I've never experienced that. So just to have something completely just make you feel like you're a completely different person, that's weird.
Because I was going to ask you about that. Describe the pain you were going through during that time. Did you have support?
Oh yeah. And that's the funny thing. I want to say I love all of you who came out and supported me. I really thought I was going to be alone with this because I've, had to do most of the stuff hard on my own. So I was like, okay, this is another thing I'm just going to have to sit in my room with my little dog and pet. But I had just met a guy, and he stuck by my side, which surprised the heck out of me because guys our age are trash, as women know. I had friends from high school who all came out of the woodworks and helped me, supported me. They sent me gift cards for grocery stores. They sent me little care packages. They brought me flowers. They helped pay my bills. I was so ecstatic, and I felt so much love because of this. I want to thank you. Thank you, Katrina. Thank you, Ty. Thank you, Vania. Thank you to everybody. Thank you, Camille. I love you guys. You guys are everything.
Okay, the question I had was, just thinking back during that time when you were going through the chemo sessions, how difficult was it for the people who were supporting you to see you go through that pain during that time?
I got a lot of people reaching out just to talk to me. to make sure, you know, mentally wise, I was stable. But I could tell that they were really sad, and I kept my I kept them in the loop. Facebook was used for one thing. If it's gonna steal all my information, I might as well put everything out there. But I did constant vlogs, videos, and pictures of what I was going through, my next treatment. When I got my port put in, I even got a picture with a couple of my doctors. I kept them in the loop, and I told them how I felt, and usually it was really, really crappy. Losing your hair is like a lot of girls like, oh, hair, like hair grows back, as you can see. I was worried about the nerves, how the nerves would feel once surgery started, the side effects of the medicines, and how I would live after that. Because once chemo starts, what chemo does its thing, it breaks down a lot more than just the cancer. It breaks you down, and you can see it. It breaks your skin down. There was no sleeping for me. Still to this day, if you can see these dark circles, I still have a lot of sleeping issues. Eating is still a problem. Appetite has gone up and down. There was a point where I lost a lot of weight, and all my friends were always telling me I looked great, but I was like, I know what a mirror looks like, okay? I can see. It's scary to look in the mirror and see yourself change. It's scary to look in the mirror and see a person that you don't recognize anymore. And it wasn't because of a choice I made to do a drug. It was a choice I had to make to do some drugs. And it freaked me out. I have always said that the outside shows how you're doing on the inside. Your body's going to tell you what's wrong, which is another reason I was in horrible denial of having cancer for the longest time. I knew what was going on. I didn't want to admit it. But the biggest changes was in my skin. I saw blotches, patchiness. I mean, I have eczema, but it got bad. I would get like little nicks and stuff, and they would turn to infections immediately. I would constantly get more sinus infections that would have me having trouble breathing. The vomiting. I was always the person that when I vomited it hurt, period. So knowing that I had to go through chemo, which just says vomiting in itself, freaked me out, and it hurt. It would hurt so bad. Excuse me.
Were you prepared for that process?
No, I was not prepared. There's no preparation.
In other words, did you do any reading up on that process?
No.
Wow, I'm surprised. Why?
I was always into science, so I knew a good bit about what the process is. Also, my brother had gone through cancer before I did, so I also, God darn it, I completely forgot my brother. I love you, Tehran. I didn't mention him. He was my rock because he knew what I was going through. He had gone through it before, but he didn't go through breast cancer. He went through blood and bone cancer. And so I was by his side, but from here. He's in Texas, and so I'm talking to him, sending him stuff. And it made me scared because he didn't think he was going to make it, and then he made it. And so he would always tell me, if I can do it at my age and my health, I know dang well you can do it. We are a resilient family. It's like everybody who's had it, there's only 2 of them that's gotten taken down. And I was like, true. So eat your vegetables. So
what was the hardest day for you in that process? And
sorry, my drain is open, and I probably spilled it all over myself again. Oh yeah, I did. Sexy.
You good?
No.
You want to take a break?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. What was my question? What was the hardest day for you in that process, and how did you go overcome it?
That is a good question. I don't really think there's one hard day. I think you have several hard days.
Did it feel like hell?
At times, yeah. Especially like the day of chemo and the week of a chemo treatment, because it's spaced out. They can't even give you all at one time. You'd explode. Literally. It would be the week of chemos. The week of injections would be hell, because that's when all the side effects are the worst. That's when you're questioning a lot of things. And my biggest question, because of while I was going through this, the world was going kind of to shit. Sorry.
You good?
Cursing.
You good?
Beep that out. I just kept thinking to myself, why am I fighting to live in this world?
You know, we were talking about the chemo and the process and how you really felt like you were dying during that time.
Yeah, you can feel a lot more than people want to tell you you'll feel. They'll tell you, the doctors will tell you things to calm you down, because it is a very agitating thing to hear what you're going to go through, what you might hear, you know, what might break down. It freaks you out. So the doctors, they will lie to you on small little white lies just to calm you down. I'm not mad at that. My doctor told me, you know, oh, this won't hurt. It was just so I wouldn't freak out and have a mental breakdown 5 seconds before she did it. But most of the things, they hurt. And to say that you'll be okay, sometimes you're not okay. And that's when you really need people by your side. There were times that I'd look at the news, I'd look at the world, I'd see how people were treating each other. I'd see, you know, how families were treating each other. And I just would think, why am I fighting to live in this world? Where I'm fighting to live and be healthy, just to go through another struggle to fight and be healthy.
At any point did you think you were going to die?
No. There was no point I thought I was going to die. I was prepared for it, though. I'm not afraid of death. I never was. I was afraid of suffering, which was what I was doing. But I was not afraid of death. I just was, this was my whole thing. If I'm going to die, do it. If I'm going to live, let me live. That's how I feel now. I'm still not 100%. I still am told to take it slow by the doctors. I just had a malfunction, and I'm like, I want to go live. I want to go do things, but I can't. In my mind, I'm still myself, but my body is not where it needs to be. My body is not myself.
Let's talk about the financial toll it takes on people who are dealing with cancer. What is that process like? How hard was it on you financially during that time dealing with cancer?
Really hard. If you have a savings set up and you're like financially stable and financially smart, you'll probably be okay. You know, you probably have, you know, little snippets saved away for rainy days, and you know how to budget properly. But as for the rest of America, the good percent of America, nobody's prepared. I was not prepared. Like I said, I was barely making ends meet, so I had no savings at this point. And I thought to myself, I'm now not going to be able to work for a long time. I have nobody to take care of me. I have nowhere to go. I panicked on that note. I didn't panic when I was told I had cancer. I panicked when I knew I'm not going to be able to do what I need to do to take care of myself. And this world is heartless. So where am I going to go? I still don't know what I would have done if it weren't for the people who stood by my side, for my family, for my friends. It kind of disgusts me to say that, you know, we're America, we're so great, we're so this, but at the end of the day, when people really need somebody there, something there, there's really not that much. And if there is, you have to jump through a loop, you know, kill a couple people, murder a vampire to get it, and it's a pain in the ass. I am still struggling horribly financially. I just lost a car. Thank God the place I live with works with me financially, but I do what I do when I can, you know. Sometimes my friends take me out, which is always great, just a little pick me up, but it's nickel and diamond from here. It was May 2006 I was diagnosed, and I am still in ground zero from it. I'm still not able to work, and it is detrimental. So if you're in a spouse relationship, which I am, it puts all the stress on the other person. And that's the house stress, that's the work stress, that's whatever stress y'all were going through before. It is a very stressful process, and it either strengthens or breaks you. And you have to make that choice on which it's going to do.
Yeah, the fight has been a continuous fight for you because you just recently had surgery where you had a muscle removed from your back area where it stretches. Talk about that grueling
Okay.
grind that you just went through with the latest round of surgeries that you just
So,
had?
my surgery, I got a double mastectomy. The cancer was on my right side. So this one was called a radical mastectomy, which took the breast, some chest wall, and lymph nodes from this area. I took about 6 lymph nodes out, which puts me in the chances for lymphedema. Lymphoma. Nope. Yeah, lymphedema. Sorry, I always get the two mixed up. One's a cancer, one is a side effect from breast cancer. Whoosh. And then because it was most likely genetic, I went ahead and got the other breast done because I had an aunt who, on my mother's side, who had breast cancer. There's not too much breast cancer on my mother's side. If there's more breast cancer on your father's side, by the way, you're more likely to get it, people. Heads up. But I had an aunt, she did not get her other breast removed. And as soon as she was fine with she beat breast cancer, we were so happy. It came back in the other side and killed her within 3 months. Once reoccurrence happens, it comes back stronger than before, and it comes back a little angrier too. So it's way more aggressive. And she was, once you go through chemo, you're pretty weak. You're pretty weak. You're using some shot. You can't handle anything. So for it to come back stronger, it took her out, and it was really, really sad. So learning from that, I said, take them both. And in the long run, okay, so we take this one, and this one would be like, all perky and proper, and this one would be a regular movie, might as well just take both. Why? Cosmetic reasons, it makes sense too, but health reasons first. So from then I went to something called expanders, which are just giant, hard, very uncomfortable balloons under the skin. Very thin skin stretched over a very hard balloon. It is extremely uncomfortable. So if anybody says they have breast expanders, please don't hug them. Or if you do, give them a light pat. Don't squeeze them. Don't be rough with them. Who knows what nerve problems are going through. I had that while I was doing most of the hard chemo. Because if you put your bags in, your implants in while you're going through radiation will ruin it, and then you have to get another breast job, and it's a waste of time. So expanders. So from then I got my bags in, and I was so excited. I could finally lay on my side. I had movement of my arms again. I might have gone too hard in the paint, as they call it. I was excited to have my body back, and from being a young person cooped up in the house all day, being a shut-in, I wanted to go out and live. I started exercising, going on long hikes, having fun with my friends. I went to a club or two, come to a little dance on. I got active, I got happy, and in that, I end up popping a hole in the right side. Once you go through radiation, your skin forever changes, and it's forever weak, and it's not going to heal right. So I popped the skin, and so much liquid and things were pouring out. I was really weak and lightheaded and nauseous, and it was really weird, because it was just a hole. I don't know how it made me feel that way, but it did. So I had to put a whole bunch of bandage in. We had to sew that up, and I had to remove the skin from this side, well, a good part of the skin from this side, and then take muscle from my back. So there is an incision right under my arm, so I can't move this arm once again. A giant incision. So he basically took the muscle, he went into the incision, took the muscle, stretched it over, cut this open, attached the muscle here. We put a new bag in because of the muscle, it would add thickness, and to make them even, you had to make the bag smaller. So we made the bag smaller, wrapped the muscle over, took some of that too thin, weak, radiated skin off, stretched more skin, so I'm getting more stretch marks here, but I don't really care. Sew that up, then sew this incision up, and then I had to get a drain into my back because now there was a giant hole in my back muscles, and there's going to be fluid. And if you know anything, that's called sepsis, which is a infection of just pocket of infected fluid in your body, which is really grody. Really bad infection, can go really, really bad, especially if you're a cancer patient and your immune system isn't 100. So I still have this, and it's gonna look a little grody, so close your eyes if you're squeamish. But this is my drain, and it is attached to my back through just a little hole. And it's right near the incision, and it goes straight to the back, and I just constantly have to squeeze and suck the juice out sometimes. It sounds pretty gross.
I wanted to ask because
Absolutely.
when you got the double mastectomy, and
I have drains in too.
and you saw yourself for the first time, what was that experience?
It was actually, it hurts less than it looks at that point. But it was only because I was on a lot of drugs. It hurt less than it looked like. At that point, I didn't really feel too much about it. I like myself. I think I'm pretty sometimes, get my little hair done, whatever, but I'm not like super vain. So I looked in the mirror and it wasn't the person I knew, but it didn't freak me out that much. There's a picture, which I'll send to you so you can use it. There's a picture, I'm just as bald as the day I was born, maybe one little two hairs coming out. I have my protective bra on, drains coming out of my side, and I'm just standing there, and I just wanted to document how I looked. I wanted to show people, this is what breast cancer looks like, this is what you go through, this is one of the many steps. Now there's many types of surgical procedures in removing the breast. There's lumpectomies, there's just people just removing the tumors, but double mastectomies they're more gruesome, and they're less talked about, so they need to be out there. People need to see, so other women can know what they're about to go through. And that's what I did. A lot of times I needed to know, what am I going to look like? What's this going to happen? What's this? I would Google it, and I would see women just like me, who were just normal. This is what I look like. This is my story. This is my drain. This is what I'm going through with my expanders.
Were you a part of any support groups during that time?
Yeah, I was a part of SOS and Food and Friends. Food and Friends, you're the real MVP as well. They sent me food, because if it wasn't for them, I would have starved. They send you food. They deliver it all the way up there for sick and elderly.
Yeah, I used to do that in Northwest DC.
Yes, they are a great company.
Yeah, I know Food and Friends.
They fed me. They call you, they have a dietitian, they figure out what type of issues you're having and how to combat that. So I had loss of appetite. I couldn't do dairy because of my medicines changing. There was some food problems. So they would give me stuff for that. They'd give me things that, would give me the nutrients that I needed, but wasn't so heavy on the stomach. Oatmeals, applesauce was my daily. I'd wake up in the morning, have tea and applesauce. Graham crackers, soups, and soups is bomb, all types of things to just help me keep kicking. So I couldn't cook for myself, so they would cook for you. They have hot foods, they have cold foods. Really, really great thing. SOS.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
I was going to ask you, how hard was it for your friends and loved ones during that time helping you as you're going through the healing process?
I don't know how hard it was for them, because they didn't want to burden me with anything. Every time I was like, oh, is this too much? It'd be like, no, they would come. I had my friend Corey. He helped me move because I could not lift anything. So he did it all, him and Charles. And it was a lot of heavy lifting. So I'm really grateful for him for that, because nobody likes to help anybody move. Whether you're healthy or not. You're like, does somebody move? Nobody's there. You're like, oh, I had all these friends. All of them are gone. But people came out and helped me move. I had people, like I said, help me with groceries, cleaning supplies, which not a lot of companies do, by the way. Food and Friends does food, but somebody needs to do like cleaning supplies for cancer patients, because there's no way in heck I was able to clean this stuff. But I had friends come over, help with that. And they would always ask if there's anything they could do, anything they could pay for.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you that. What do you do to survive financially during this time when you're unable to work?
Now, I just struggle. I don't, because I have like this whole guilt thing, and I don't want people to take care of me too much, but I have to get over the pride and sometimes ask for help.
Have you ever thought about GoFund?
Oh, I have a GoFundMe. My GoFundMe is gofundme.com/help Lila kill cancer. And I have raised about $3,000 before, and that was when I was going through the chemo and stuff, and that was to help with the rent and things. So after that, I really stopped pushing it out just because I felt like I'm asking too much. Like, I don't want to burden my friends because, you know, they're some of them are single, some of them are not, but they have families and life of their own, and crap happens. Ty, one of my biggest supporters, her mother ended up going through it the same time I did. Like,
Oh, wow.
yeah, as soon as I started chemo, she was like, yeah, so guess what happened? And I was just like, ah. So that kind of was kind of crazy. So me and her kind of kept up, and she would give me the go, you can do it, and I'd give her the go, you can do it. And she was just a little bit behind on me when it comes to treatment. So she'd ask me, oh, what to expect, and I'd be like, okay, da 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 da. And I do that to another friend, Erica, who's actually in the Frederick area. Most all my friends are in DMV. I'm like the only one up here, isolated. But the one person I do know up here, I helped her a little bit through it and talked her through it. But she went through kind of the exact treatment I went through. And she took it pretty well too. And the biggest thing I kept telling her is just don't be scared. It's gonna suck. It's going to suck, but you'll be fine.
Does it get frustrating for you at times? And what I mean by that is because you had goals prior to getting cancer, that you're unable right now to really
fire inside. That is kind of why I got hurt, because I was just out here hustling, trying to get my company back together, and I was doing too much. It drives me crazy to this day. There's events I want to go to. There's things that I could be doing and getting my fingers into, and artist meetups and things I would love to do, but I can't. And I can't accept that personally, but I must. I want to go out. I want to do fun things. I want to do things that are going to progress my growth as a person. But all I can do is stay. I read, which helps me pass the time, and I study. I do a little art, but right now life is on hold. It does put life on hold, and it's hard. I wonder, like, I might not be able to have children, but I wonder about the people who have children. They all always, there's a couple of Facebook groups I'm in, they're closed because we don't want to be out in the open. Marketing companies are always after us. But there's a lot of women who are like, how am I going to tell my children? What am I supposed to do? There's single moms who are like, I can't work now. How am I going to take care of my kids? And those are some valid questions. And there's really no answer that I would know, because I didn't even know how to do it myself. If I hadn't had kids, I probably would have freaked out. Now,
is that door closed for you?
I'm not sure. I have some eggs, some fertilized eggs on ice, but paying for them is a wee bit expensive. I had Livestrong, shout out to you guys. They helped me pay for my fertility treatments, my IVF, and the egg removal. But you know, there's only so much charities can do. At this point, I had to take a loan out for that, and I really didn't want to. I hate loans. But I had to take a loan out for it, and so I'm paying back the loan. If I don't pay back the loan, the eggs get taken off ice. So right now, we're on the lowest that we can pay per month, and we're paying it. I want to go to the doctor and see if eventually this area will be workable, but I won't know for another 2 years. And I'm being recommended to be on hormone treatment because I have a really weird pathology. We don't know what's going to happen. So that's kind of always on my mind. I always wanted to have my own children, but if I don't, I'm 100% okay with adopting, because, I was adopted. My mother passed, and if I believe, you don't have to have your biological mother, you just need a parent out there who's really looking out for you. That is key, who has your best interest at heart. There's not too many of those. Like, some people get adopted into really shitty situations. It happens a lot, and it's really sad, but if I were to adopt a child, I would love that little booger to just like I would love my own.
Now, was it hard? Not hard. How was it for your adoptive parents to know you had to research your biological background to find out?
We aren't as close. I was in with my aunt from my mother's side, and family drama happened, so we're not as close as we could be, which is another reason why I'm all the way out here. But she knows. She was supportive. She was there. Before I knew I had cancer, I was looking into my family. They actually called. My brother found me. He had been searching me for years, and nobody on the people who knew my father, who was alive, died recently, wasn't trying to give up my location, and he couldn't get in contact with anybody in Maryland because he didn't know them. But he found me on Facebook and was like, "Oh my God, you're my sister." And I'm like, "I don't know who you are, strange man." He freaked me out because I was like, "Who are you?" It's like, just because we have last names, you need to chill. But turns out he was my brother, and I was like, "Okay, now I can see why you're excited." I learned who they were, and then breast cancer hit. So that kind of happened beforehand. And it was a good thing, because if it had happened after, I wouldn't have known as much as I needed to know about what I was going to experience, how my body would react to things, and I wouldn't have had that knowledge to keep being strong and knowledge I was going to make it. It was my brother who let me know, "You're not going to die." He said, because he kicked my ass, so there was no dying. It wasn't an option. So I wasn't scared of the death part. I was just scared of the being in constant uncomfortable hell. Nausea is, woo, that nausea, y'all. Nausea and vomiting was just.
You know, you and I talked about the healthcare system.
Ooh, Lord.
I wanted to get your thoughts on that, because what you find today with President Trump wants to roll back Obamacare, something that's really helped you in this process of fighting cancer, and now they're trying to repeal Obamacare. What's your thoughts on that?
The man is the devil. The people he worked for are the devil.
Is there a fear that?
Oh yeah, my whole thing. I was scared when he got elected, and because that's what his big thing. I'm taking Obamacare away, and I'm just like, I'm not done with my treatment. There's people who are just getting the treatment. Obamacare literally gave the ability to get treatment for so many people. If I had have known I had cancer and had no health care, went to get health care, they would have been like, "You have a pre-existing condition." That's not gonna go. No, sorry. There's still women in my group who go for life insurance, and they're about 5, 6, even 10 years past having breast cancer, and because they had breast cancer, they're denied for life insurance. So I'm pretty sure if it wasn't for Obamacare, I wouldn't have had insurance, and I probably would have died. I would have had to pay, which I couldn't have, for stuff, and I would have died. I wouldn't have been able to eat right. My health would have declined. I wouldn't have got the medicine I needed. Okay, there was one moment where there was my nausea pills to keep me from going insane. My nausea pills, I can't remember the name. It's a really long name, but they're little dissolvable tablets to put on your tongue. I forgot to give the man my insurance card, so he just rung it up, the medicine. It was $300. Nausea pills.
Wow.
This isn't even fighting anything, first of all. I'm like, this isn't helping any types of cancer. How is this $300? And this is not like a 100-day supply or something. This is 12 pills. I'm like, sir. He's like, oh, I'm sorry.
How are you supposed to afford?
What was I supposed to do, sir? If I did not have Obamacare, I would have died. I wouldn't have been able to get in the right type of chemo. They would have given me small brain chemo. That wouldn't have worked as well. What would I have done? What would I have done? Literally. I wouldn't have been able to go to this awesome Frederick and MD Anderson have teamed up, and they have this great center out here, and that's what I've been going through. I would not have been able to get to that. There would be no way in hell. If it wasn't for Obamacare, I would.
Did it get to a point where I might have to look at alternative medicines if I can't afford?
No, because there was no worry about the medication part because Obamacare paid for it. No problems. Anything I needed, no problems. Now, how Obamacare works, there's little companies that you go with. My direct insurance, they would deny certain things they found unnecessary. Now, in the health field, unnecessary just means like, not like, oh, you don't need this shot, but I'm gonna give it to you. That is what it means. But it means there was a PET scan that I had that I was just going to scan from head to toe, bones, blood vessels, to get the whole shebang bang, which one and done, which would be perfect. And that was at the beginning. I wouldn't need the mammogram. It would just go zip, 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 all different levels. She'd be able to see my whole body in and out and know exactly what they're gonna target, if there's cancer anywhere else, which was my biggest thing. Because of the type of breast cancer I had, which was what, 3C, stage 3. I was like, is there cancer somewhere else? Sorry, 3B. Say it again. Because of the type of cancer I had, 3B, my biggest thing was, has it spread anywhere else? Has it, caused any issues anywhere else? Is there any clusters of cancer or any clusters of calcium that we should worry about? And a PET scan would have been able to tell that. My insurance denied that. It was too expensive for them. So instead, I got the 3D mammogram and a CAT scan. But that didn't check the bones and, other places that I worried about. I don't have good kidneys from my mom, so that was my biggest worry. The stress and the strain on my kidneys, where my kidneys might already be at because of cancer being in my body. I was freaking out and was really irritated about that. But when it came to medicines, I got the medicine I needed. The doctor said, oh, she needs this medicine because this, that, I would get it. There might be a delay in when I did have a problem with my surgery. There was a request to be put in, but it didn't get paid until the day before the surgery. And that was my bags, my reconstruction. And I'm just like, can I get these expanders out already? Because I'm tired. And I literally had to call them and harass them. Like, can you guys approve this payment for my surgery? So the next day it was done. That was the only issue I really had with Obamacare. That was it. Everything else.
Do you still wish you were able to get that scan that you were talking about?
It would have just been easier. It just would have been an easier step.
It would have eased your mind.
It would have definitely eased my mind. But we did it another way. We got it done. And I think that's the most important part. PET scans are kind of expensive. They're a little expensive, so I can understand why it is, $50,000 scan. So and it's ridiculous how much they charge for these things. It's just, I understand it's a really expensive machine, but okay. It's meant to scan. Once you bought it, you've got to. It's there.
How has your diet changed in this process and your lifestyle of eating?
That is a struggle because I like sugar, and I've always liked sugar, and sugar is what feeds cancer.
Does meat also as well?
That is a multifaceted question. Red meats, yeah, it's best you just stay away from them. Pork is best you minimize and just don't. I don't eat pork and I don't eat red meat, never have. It stuff sits in your guts and that's how you get colon cancer. I don't have time for that. Don't have time, and I'm never planning to try it. When I go to Japan, I might do beef. They have cleaner beef. My choice in eating has always been what we do to our foods. Our meat is dirty. Our seafood is disgustingly dirty. There's been so much microplastics found in the seafood, and we wonder why cancer is on the rise. We've dirtied our food. And everybody wants to make fun of everything's organic. Yeah, because everything's dirty. Duh. But my diet has changed. I have always really eaten vegetables, but now I make it a thing. Like, instead of going to Taco Bell because it's cheaper, I just say, I'm just gonna make something at home. I chop up some veggies, make a stir fry, eat some rice. I make sure that I eat at home rather than eat out. And when I do eat out, it's usually not fast food and stuff. It's like at a restaurant. Sorry. It's usually at a restaurant, and it's a good meal, and you know, it has its good portions and stuff, and it's not overly fatty or overly sugared. From time to time, I like some cakes. So I like cake, I like confections, but I try my darndest to stay away from them. This is Halloween month, so I'm gonna lock my door and stay inside. Y'all little cute children with your little buckets, stay away from me. I might jack one of them. Basically, not much has changed because I've always tried to eat well, but now I just make sure I stay away from processed food. Processed food is the devil.
Just thinking about this whole processing journey that you've been through. Are you a spiritual person?
Yeah, very much so.
Very much so.
I grew up Hindu, so spirituality is in my soul. When it comes to religion, I have issues with, just because I feel that humans, man, y'all ruin everything. Just everything. Like the core meaning of what religions mean, we just overlook that completely. We really only use religion to just justify why we're better than everybody else and why you're bad. And I'm like, okay, well, you guys can go ahead and have that little party. I'm gonna work on, connecting to whatever higher power is there. And we gonna have this conversation. Y'all go ahead and have your little fights. Okay.
Did you ever question your higher power, like, why me?
No.
Never.
Everything happens for a reason. Whether you like it or not, everything happens for a reason. Everybody comes in your life for a reason. Whether it's, just to be there for a short time or to be there for forever. Maybe somebody comes in your life to help you get over something or to teach you a lesson. But everything is for a reason. There was a moment where I was angry. And it was just because I had just got to the point where I was just, I'm just like, I've gone through rape, I've gone through abuse, I've gone through homelessness, I've gone through feeling unloved, I've done the depression, I've done it all, and I'm just like, all right, we got to a point where I've crawled through the mud, and I'm a little muddy, but I'm on my own two wobbly legs at this point. And then I get hit with breast cancer, and I'm like, you're kidding me, right? Like, this is a joke. This has to be a joke. I was like, this isn't breast cancer. You can't. I think that's kind of the reason why I was in denial. It's like, no, there's no way in heck. I've been a good person. I've struggled, but there's no way in heck I'm going to be knocked down right now, and I was. And I was angry for a short minute at that. But then I got reminded by my brother who I was. And what I've gone through, what we had gone through, had strengthened me and had made me able to take on anything. And it's just like, if this little sickness is gonna come and take me, then that's just what it's gonna be. And like, if I'm going to die, I need to make sure people understand what this is, try to spread the word, and try to get into people's heads to be good. Like, I've always thought myself as a person to help others. I've always tried to be the person to help others. And as you know, in this world, that sometimes screws you over, but I grew up Hindu, and that was what was instilled in me, is goodness to humanity. That's what, whether you believe in God or not, all we got is our connection, our legacy. Leave a good one. Don't be that person that everybody hates. Don't be, trying to nickel and dime and screw people over just to get ahead. But where does that leave you on the inside? So there was an anger for a moment, but after that, I was at peace. I just prayed for strength.
To go through what you've been through, like you said, rape, homelessness, body breaking down, what would you say, what's the hardest thing you ever dealt with in life? Would you say it's the cancer itself, or just everything rolled up into,
Cancer was not the hardest thing I fought. Not at all. And I think that's another reason why I wasn't scared. I don't like being uncomfortable. So, like I said, I was very scared of chemo and how it was going to break down my body and sickness that would bring on. But I would say my early 20s was some of the hardest times in my life, because that was the hardest time mentally for me. And it was even when I came here, I was still really, really, really in a bad mental spot. And it was only recently that I got my grounding of who I am, and to not be shaken by anything, by anybody's opinions or whatever, you know. And in saying that, that comes with losing some friends, with getting rid of some friends, and getting cancer. You learn who is really by your side and who isn't. And it sometimes shocks you. Sometimes there's people that you know aren't going to be there for you. And then there's people that you're just like, really? I've known you since, and that's how you're going to, and right now, that's how you're going to do me? Okay. There was one friend I lost that shocked me, but didn't really shock me. Like, I knew the type of person he was, but I thought I was a good friend enough for you to just be there. But still, a person cared more about themselves than, so I just didn't have time for it, and you just shoo them out. At this point in my life, I love kicking people out. I don't take nobody's crap. I know I have crap of my own, and you know, there's a balance, but if you get abusive, if you're a toxic person, you're out ASAP. I have no time for toxicity. And it's
Have
really,
you ever dealt with depression?
oh, yeah, I'm on depression pills now. I think with the current state of the world, depression is inevitable for me, at least. I'm not really depressed on what I have. I'm not really materialistic. I'm depressed on the connections, the people, the plight of the world has always been on my shoulder. I think that's because I got spiritual really, really young, and I just wanted happiness for everybody. But I see people put themselves in cycles. A lot of problems are self-made, and it comes to realizing that. And when you try to help somebody realize that, all you get is anger and negativity at you, and it's just like, I'm just trying to help you out. I'm not trying to judge you. I got my own crap. I just want to help people. And so I want to help people understand this and know what to look for and be there for somebody in their life. And
How can people help with this monster called cancer?
one, it's not always giving to charity. That really in itself sometimes is bullcrap. Most of these charities out here are for themselves. They don't really give that much. Susan G. Komen did not help me at all. At all. That's the biggest corporation, and I mean, besides a couple of marathons, but apparently they're funding other things. I don't know. I'm not in Susan G. Komen. I just know I called and she ain't help me out. Okay. It's usually the smaller corporations that are still for the people that help. But when it comes to what you can do for people with breast cancer or any type of cancer, don't go to the house all the time because of constant germs. When you do, make sure you're clean. Bring cleaning supplies. Bring them some food. Bring them stuff that can help them. See what's going on in their life. If they have, constipation or diarrhea. If they can't stop vomiting. If they need help putting weight on. Get some foods that help them with that. Bring them things that are already cooked so they don't have to do it. Come clean for them so they don't have to do it. If they have pets, offer to come and take care of their pets from time to time. And I mean really take care of it. Like bleach down, clean their bathrooms, like effort. And I think that's can be applied to anything, relationships, period. Effort is what's really needed. Go help them when you can. If they need money for stuff, try to, drop them a little something in the pocket. It helps. Even if their bills are paid and, whatever, give them a little something to cheer them up. If they're a gamer, get them a little game or, something like that. Rent them a movie, get them some Netflix. Netflix is everything because you're sitting in your house and you can't go outside. You can't go outside. So, stuff to make them excited and fun and have fun in the house. Game nights, if they're, their immune system is up to it, have little game nights where you come and you just spend time. Talk to them constantly if they're able to talk to you on a social media or on the phone. It's good to know that you're not alone, and it's good to know that you have support. I think that's the biggest thing, to know that if something does happen to you, somebody's going to miss you, and somebody wants to literally help. They're putting effort to help you get better mentally and spiritually and physically. Somebody is there for you. be that person. Get them some lip gloss because it dries up. Some chapstick, organic stuff, some shea butter for their skin, mouthwash for mouth dryness, eye drops, anything to help them cool down. Just care, self-care. All right, so some things about breast cancer that I want everybody to know. One, both men and women can get breast cancer. You have a chest wall, you technically have a breast. Checking for women, I would say do it at least once a month. If you are on any type of hormone pills, which are hormone pills for any other reasons, or birth control, check once to twice a month. If you have anybody in your family with breast cancer history, go ahead and check once a month. If you have had any other type of sicknesses, autoimmune deficiencies or anything, go ahead and check. Go ahead and cut processed food out of your life, period. That's probably just a good thing. Try to eat clean. Make things at home more often. Don't use box things. Cut your vegetables up yourself. Make your rices yourself. Make your flavors and your spices. Do everything from scratch. The best way is just to do it from scratch. More women die from breast cancer than almost anything else in the United States.
I think it's only second to lung cancer.
Yep. So and that's just from smoking, and that's a whole nother demon. Stop smoking. Don't smoke tobacco. Go ahead and put that down. Put it down. That's just a whole nother demon that you don't even want to get into. And if you have any breast cancer in your family, go ahead and cut out smoking now. Just put that down.
No, you're good. I was going to say, as we're wrapping up the interview, I call this the last words. What would you like for people to know about Lila Edwards and her fight with this monster known as cancer and this journey you're partaking?
I'm Lila Edwards, and I kick cancer's ass. But I want you to know that it's not over. It will continue probably for the rest of my life, and that's something I've accepted. My brother has had reoccurrence with how my health goes and how I continue to have dips. I probably will have reoccurrence, but I'm not scared. I'm not scared at all. I am going to look into other ways of treatment if I do get reoccurrence, because I'm not sure I want to go through chemo again. But if push comes to shove, I might take it. It is still a fear, though, because those things break down your organs. I don't want to kill cancer and then, die because of kidney failure or heart failure, because I do have heart problems thanks to Herceptin, but it did shrink my tumor in 2 weeks. So, so there's some give and take. Tumor shrunk in 2 weeks. Got a small heart problem. If I eat right, I should be fine. I know that when I get older, I will break down a lot faster than almost anybody. But that's why I'm going to eat healthy and exercise to kind of strengthen myself when I can. Side note, do your best to make sure your children aren't eating all this candy and processed food, because it was what I was eating as a child that brought on my genetic breast cancer way earlier than anybody else in my family. I was a lover of the M&Ms, and they are delicious. I like chocolate. But as we know, I'm allergic to milk, and Red 40 is something that actually onsets breast cancer. It's been clinically shown, but yet it's still in almost everything that's red and, chemically dyed. So watch out for these dyes. Watch out for these sodas. You don't need them. I know it's part of American culture, but just because everybody else is doing it doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. Just because it tastes better doesn't mean it's for your body. Like, I'm pretty sure crack addicts like crack, but doesn't really do a body good, okay? And milk is not good for you. Stop that bull crap. All right, it's all about money. If you are still drinking milk, drink almond milk. It gives you better calcium and it doesn't kill you. Okay, bye.
I want to say I really appreciate your time today on Real Talk
problem.
with Zeb, spreading the word and the knowledge on the fight dealing with breast cancer.
Thank you for having me, and I hope I educated somebody. I will say I am a Lila Bobina on Twitter, and if anybody has any questions on breast cancer, on my battle, or anything I can help you with, please reach out to me. Oh, I'm also a gamer. Lila Bobina Games on YouTube. Check me out. I'm awesome, and I'm retarded.
What's the favorite game on there?
Sims 4. I am a Sims. I am part of the Black Simmer group. It's really awesome. It's a good community. It's a community of all types of people, but I love the X gang, as they're called. X Mirror is the one who set it up. I love the community. It helped me come out of my shell. It helped me bring joy back into my heart. It was something I just watched her while I was going through it, and then I ended up being a part of it. And so here I am doing what I like.
All right, thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
All right.